Richard Trenton Chase, born on May 23, 1950, etched his name in the annals of crime as a serial killer, cannibal, and necrophile, terrorizing the city of Sacramento, California, between 1977 and 1978. His gruesome acts, involving the consumption of his victims' blood and even their remains, earned him a bone-chilling nickname, the Vampire of Sacramento. But what led Chase down this dark path? Well, let's start from the beginning. During his childhood, he displayed signs of hypochondria, a condition characterized by excessive health concerns. Chase often voiced distressing claims, such as his heart ceasing to beat or his pulmonary artery being stolen. However, his beliefs took an even stranger turn. In a peculiar attempt to enhance his cognitive function, Chase adopted the unfounded belief that placing oranges on his head would facilitate the absorption of vitamin C into his brain through diffusion. These bizarre practices aimed to improve his mental faculties, but that wasn't all. Chase also held the baseless conviction that his cranial bones had separated and were in constant motion. This led him to shave his head, hoping to observe this alleged phenomenon firsthand. These strange beliefs and behaviors showcased the depths of his troubled mind. Following a period of psychiatric confinement, his mental health battles persisted, casting a dark shadow over his future. However, it was in 1976 that events took an even more disturbing turn. Chase found himself involuntarily admitted to a mental institution, after injecting rabbit's blood into his veins, which led to his immediate hospitalization. Within the confines of the institution, the staff quickly noticed Chase's fixation on blood, earning him the nickname Dracula. This obsession manifested itself in alarming ways. During his time in the hospital, Chase engaged in disturbing behavior by capturing two birds through a window, snapping their necks, and consuming their blood. In addition, he managed to obtain syringes, and use them to extract blood from therapy dogs, breaking every boundary of ethical conduct. It was evident that Chase's actions were indicative of a deeper underlying issue. After a thorough evaluation, he received a diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia, shedding light on the source of his erratic behavior. This marked a turning point, as a series of treatments involving psychotropic drugs were initiated, aimed at stabilizing his condition. With time, Chase's progress was closely monitored by medical professionals, who determined that he no longer posed an imminent threat to society. Consequently, he was released into the care of his mother, allowing him to transition back into the outside world. His mother gradually withdrew him from his medication regimen, ultimately arranging for him to have his own apartment. Initially, Chase shared this living space with roommates, but as time went on, they departed, leaving him to reside alone. It was during this period of isolation that subsequent investigations would uncover a significant incident that occurred in mid-1977. Chase was apprehended and arrested on a reservation in the Pyramid Lake area of Nevada, and what the authorities discovered was truly disturbing. Chase's body was found smeared with blood, while a bucket containing cow's blood was uncovered in his truck. This chilling discovery raised serious concerns among investigators. However, despite the presence of blood and the disturbing circumstances, no charges were pressed at that time. On December 29, 1977, a fateful day that would forever scar the lives of many, Chase embarked on his first known act of murder. In a chilling drive-by shooting, his unfortunate victim was Ambrose Griffin, a 51-year-old engineer and a loving father to two children. 2 weeks later, Chase attempted to gain entry into a woman's residence, however, finding locked doors in his way, he chose to retreat. During subsequent interrogations, Chase revealed a disturbing insight into his twisted mindset. Locked doors were interpreted as a sign of unwelcomeness, while unlocked doors served as an invitation for him to enter. But it doesn't end there. In one horrifying incident, Chase was interrupted and chased away by a returning couple, as he was in the process of stealing their belongings. Shockingly, he had also desecrated their infant child's bed and clothing, defiling them by urinating and defecating on them. The grim events took an even more sinister turn on January 23, 1978, when Chase broke into a house and mercilessly targeted Teresa Wallen, who was 3 months pregnant at the time. What followed was a scene straight out of a nightmare. Chase engaged in horrifying acts, engaging in sexual intercourse with Teresa's lifeless body, while inflicting multiple stab wounds using a butcher's knife. In a grotesque display of depravity, he went on to remove various organs. As if the brutality wasn't enough, he forced dog feces from Teresa's yard down her throat, before leaving the scene. Further carnage unfolded on January 27, when Chase entered the residence of 38-year-old Evelyn Miroth, where he encountered her companion Danny Meredith. Chase shot Meredith with a .22 handgun, claiming his life. But that was just the beginning. Inside the residence, Chase went on to commit unspeakable acts of violence. He took the lives of Miroth, her 6-year-old son Jason, and her 22-month-old nephew David Ferreira. After mutilating Miroth's body, Chase engaged in acts of necrophilia and even cannibalism. The depths of his depravity knew no bounds. However, Chase's heinous actions were abruptly interrupted, when a visitor knocked on the door. In a hasty retreat, he fled the scene, taking Ferreira's lifeless body with him in Meredith's car. Ferreira's decapitated corpse was found months later behind a church. The visitor acted swiftly, alerting a neighbor, who promptly contacted the authorities. As the police arrived and began investigating the scene, they discovered chilling evidence. Clear handprints and shoe imprints left by Chase in Miroth's blood painted a grim picture. The horrifying truth was unfolding before their eyes. Chase was swiftly apprehended, and a subsequent search of his apartment revealed an abhorrent sight. Blood had saturated the walls, floor, ceiling, refrigerator, and every single eating and drinking utensil in Chase's apartment. It was a haunting testament to the depths of his disturbed mind. In 1979, Chase faced trial on 6 charges of murder. The defense sought to avoid the death penalty by arguing for a conviction of second-degree murder, which would result in a life sentence. They centered their strategy around highlighting Chase's history of mental illness, and asserting that his crimes lacked premeditation. The culmination of Chase's trial arrived on May 8, 1979, and the jury delivered a unanimous verdict of guilty on all 6 counts of first-degree murder. Rejecting the defense's plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, they sentenced Chase to be executed in the gas chamber. The severity of his crimes left fellow inmates in fear, so much so, that they attempted to persuade Chase to take his own life. In a series of interviews conducted by Robert K. Ressler, Chase revealed the depths of his irrational fears. He expressed an obsession with Nazis and UFOs, believing that they posed a threat. While acknowledging his role in the killings, Chase claimed that it was not his fault. He argued that he was compelled to take lives in order to preserve his own existence, asserting that anyone in his situation would have done the same. In a surreal twist, Chase even requested access to a radar gun, envisioning its use in apprehending Nazis and UFOs, and holding them accountable for the murders he committed. Additionally, Chase handed Ressler a substantial quantity of macaroni and cheese, which he had been hoarding in his pants pockets. He believed that prison officials conspired with the Nazis, and attempted to poison him with tainted food. However, the story takes a twisted turn, when on December 26, 1980, Chase was discovered lifeless in his prison cell. An autopsy revealed that he had taken his own life by overdosing on prescribed medications, and with that, the tale of Richard Chase, filled with horror and darkness, had come to an end.